a series now here at TDA of kind of breaking down the assistant coaches and coordinators under Nick Saban, kind of giving the expectations. You guys as the fans, you have expectations for every coach on the staff, and we're diving into what are you expecting from each coach? What are you expecting from each coordinator as, once again, fall camp next week, as we're getting closer and closer to the start of the Alabama football season, the Crimson Tide trying to repeat as national champions. We've already looked at Pete Golding, so now we can look at the offensive coordinator in Bill O'Brien. His first year with the Crimson Tide, coming over from the NFL with the New England Patriots and the Houston Texans. Coach Saban has extended the olive branch to O'Brien for him to come in, learn from the Coach Saban rehab, polish himself up, get himself better, improve himself in the eyes of the national landscape here. O'Brien has always been a fantastic offensive mind. The reason why it just did not work for him in the NFL with the Houston Texans is he was trying to be a head coach and an executive at the same time, trying to be a head coach and a general manager, and that's because he came from the Bill Belichick coaching tree, and in seeing Bill Belichick being able to do both, O'Brien felt like, you know what, I come from Bill Belichick, I should be able to do both, but that's not always the case. Sometimes you have your lane and you just need to be in that lane. Unfortunately for O'Brien, he learned the hard way there, got fired from the Texans, but Coach Saban always looking out to see, who's the next big coach on the rise, who's the next big coach out there, or more importantly, who is somebody that he can bring into Alabama to help enhance the Crimson Tide program even more. So here comes O'Brien, first year here with the Crimson Tide, and after losing Steve Sarkisian to the Texas Longhorns, there are a lot of expectations for Bill O'Brien. It's, can he do what Sarkisian did? Can he be as dominant as Sarkisian was? Can he call the plays the way Sark was able to do it? Can he have this offense being just otherworldly special and taking that next step in the evolution of the offense here at Alabama? And despite the massive expectations thrown out there, you can break this down into three main expectations. So here we go right here as they're showing up on the screen. The three expectations for Bill O'Brien. Number one, developing Bryce Young into being an elite quarterback. That's self-explanatory. Number two is being able to achieve the balance in the run and pass game. And then number three, for O'Brien, still finding ways where Alabama can still be explosive. They can still take shots downfield. They can still have this fun, free-flowing type of offense, if you will. So first and foremost, when you look at Bryce Young, Bill O'Brien has to get this young man to pop as the next elite quarterback, not just in the SEC, but in all of college football. O'Brien did not recruit Young. This was Sarkisian's project right here. So Sarkisian, he went out there, he recruited Bryce, he scouted Bryce, he visited Young. Both guys from the state of California, he brought Young in. Everybody felt like if Sarkisian recruited him, if Sarkisian got him to sign the national letter of intent for Alabama, then Sark would be the one to see the whole development process of Young straight to the end. But unfortunately did not happen as Sarkisian got the head coaching job at Texas. So now his project, his protege, his baby, his prospect falls into the hands of Bill O'Brien. O'Brien inherits this. So what he's going to have to do, you got to get Bryce Young to pop. You got to get Young to be the next big superstar, the next big guy, the next elite quarterback in this conference and in the nation. Now, the good thing here is Bryce already has some huge tools when you look at his mobility, his athleticism, his escapability, his way of creating on the edge. We have seen the arm talent, the accuracy, the precision. Of course, we saw this in high school coming out of California, the powerhouse Mater Dei High School. We saw it in the spring game, over 300 yards passing with one touchdown. Even though there were moments where he had pressure in his face, he was able to step up in the pocket, make some guys miss, and target receivers and or tight ends and running backs in the open field for big plays. So we already see the tools that Bryce Young has, but Bill O'Brien got to be able to tap into those tools and pull the best here out of Young. We have had some guys here on the show. One of those guys, Coach Keith Miller, who runs a camp out there in California. He scouted Young out in the 8th grade, and he talked about how Young is Russell Wilson on steroids, got some Johnny Manziel in his game. All Bill O'Brien has to do is call the plays, make the beats, get out the way, let Bryce Young run this offense. I've even had a chance to talk to a good friend of mine who's a former player, and he even had the statement of Bryce Young Bill O'Brien needs to treat Bryce Young as if he's, Tom Brady. Show him the mental side of the game, teach him the mental tricks of the trade, and then let Bryce Young go out there and elevate the offense, run the offense, operate the offense. So that's the big thing here. The marriage of O'Brien and Young. Can this marriage pop? Can this marriage hit? Can this marriage work? Bill O'Brien got to get the young sophomore to pop. That's number one. When you look at number 2 here, having the balance, achieving that balance in the run and pass game. And this is important because as exciting as it was to sling the football all over the field, as exciting as it was to target these wide receivers, tight ends, what have you, and even throwing the ball to running backs, Alabama, Nick Saban, they also want to have the ability to line up and pound the ball right down the defense's throat. And you got 5 running backs on the roster. When you look at Brian Robinson, Jace McClellan, Roydell Williams, Trey Sanders, and also Kamar Wheaton. So for Alabama, it's can Bill O'Brien achieve that balance in the run and pass game, knowing that when Alabama wants to be able to run the football, when it feels like it should be able to run the football, when it understands we can impose our will, and when he sees the offensive line up front imposing its will, having that wherewithal to take the air out of the ball, pound the rock, have that wherewithal to shorten the possession of the game for the opposing team and wearing down their defensive front and running the football. And we saw last season with Sarkisian, even though big numbers from Mac Jones, right? Single season passing record for him. Big numbers for Devontae Smith. Big numbers for John Mechie. Even though we saw all of this in the passing game, U.S. fans still saw Najee Harris near 1,500 yards rushing, 1,466 yards, 26 rushing touchdowns. We still saw Brian Robinson 6 rushing touchdowns. So when Alabama wanted to run the football last year, it had no problem putting a hat on a hat and achieving that balance. So that's the big thing here with Bill O'Brien. Yes, we want to see Bryce Young will it and deal it out there, but in not putting too much pressure on him, you also want to see in a situation where when Alabama feels like we can pound the ball on anybody, being able to pound that ball on the opposing team's defense, creating that balance. That's number 2. And then last but not least, number 3 here, still being able to find those ways or still having those ways to be explosive offensively. And I go back to, last year, it was just so exciting that, Alabama could score 40 and 50 and 60 points whenever it wanted to. It could drop bombs whenever it wanted to. It can run it up whenever it wanted to. Whenever the offense felt like we feeling ourselves, we feeling our swag, we feeling our sauce, we in our bag, we can do what we want to do at any given moment. So this season right here with Bill O'Brien, can Alabama still have those moments where it can take shots downfield? Can it still have those moments where it can take the top off a secondary? Can it still have those moments where the receivers are running double moves and slanting goals and straight goal routes and post fades where Bryce Young can put that ball up there, John Mechie, Jamison Williams, Slade Bolden, Javon Baker, whomever is out there on the field, those guys can break open, create that separation, run up under that football, make plays, and take it to the crib for touchdowns. Can Alabama still be explosive? Can we still be explosive in all of this? That's a question that you as the fans, want to know, and that's an expectation that you as the fans have for this upcoming season when you look at one Bill O'Brien. But that's just that right there, the three main things. Getting Bryce Young to pop, developing him, making him the next elite quarterback in college football, being able to achieve that balance in the run and pass game. And number three, still finding ways to be explosive. Now, Alabama doesn't have to average 50 points a game with Bill O'Brien in year one, but at least be able to have a top 5 offense across the board when you look at passing offense, rush offense, scoring offense, pass efficiency offense, all those types of number, data, analytics. If Bama can at least be top 5 across the board, then U.S. fans will be very much so happy with that. But next week, folks, fall camp. Really excited, really pumped up, really energetic, really enthused about it, and really looking forward to seeing year one. What does Bill O'Brien bring to the table as the offensive genius, as the offensive mastermind that he is?